something you've never heard that will blow your mind. Once upon a time, I'll tell you stories from Africa. Fun enough to make you laugh. Bright enough to light your day. Super lessons you learn from it, and it makes you go. I am Grandma Wura. I am Grandma Wura.
This is Gary, made from cassava. So many other things can be made from cassava as well, such as abacha, fufu, and so on. Welcome to Grandma Wura's Story Heart, where my stories give you wings and fly you on an African adventure. Today's story is titled The Cassava Merchant. A long time ago, in a village in the southern part of Nigeria, lived a young boy called Udo. Udo, for as long as he could remember, had always worked on the farm with his father, and had always heard his father, while they worked on the farm, say to him, "This farm was given to my father's father's father, who gave it to my father's father, and who gave it to my father, and then my father gave it to me, and I will now give it to you." Udo came from a family line where they were prosperous in the cassava business. Now, Udo's father passed away, and one of Udo's friends who had left for the city in search of greener pastures visited. And when he visited, he came with a beautiful Mercedes-Benz car. Wow! Udo looked at him and thought to himself, the city must be a very good place to live then. Then he approached Edet and asked him how things were going in the city. Of course, Edet told him how prosperous he was doing in the city, and how the city was just totally the best place to be. At this, Udo decided probably he should give the city a chance as well. Edet also promised that he could give him accommodation, so he should come over to the city and see how well it went. Udo left his family and told them that he would go to the city to make more money, and which he would also send to them so that they could feed. A few years down the line, while being in the city, things did not go as well as Edet had actually promised. Udo had gone from one office job to the other and wasn't doing so well at all. Sometimes he would even have to do odd jobs in order to get some money to send to his family in the village. Oh, he never thought that it would be this hard. One of the days back in the city, he was met by a woman who had a little shop just beside Edet's house. And she had heard that morning how Edet was actually threatening to throw Udo out of the house and asked him to go and get a place of his own. She saw Udo that morning looking very downcast. Then she called him and said, "What is the matter, young man?" And then he told her everything that he was going through and how that he thought the city was going to be a better place for him. But alas, it was not the way he had envisaged. The woman now asked him what he was doing in the village before coming to the city. He told her about his family line of cassava farming and how that his father, his grandfather had all done so well in the cassava farming. Then she said to him, "One thing I know in life is that whatever your hand finds to do, do it well. Do what you know how to do best, do it well, and it will bring you peace and prosperity." Udo took these words very seriously and decided to go back to the village and try these words out. He heard it from his father. Now he's heard it from another person in the city. So he went back to the village. By the time he got to the village, the farm that his father had left to him was all dried up. Nothing was growing. Oh, he felt so bad and decided anyway, I will encourage myself and start right from the scratch, start all over again. And so he got his wife and his 2 children. They began to clear the bushes, getting it ready to start farming again. One of those days, as they cleared the farm, Udo hit and thought he hit something really hard. He tried to pull, it was a particular cassava plant that had dried up. He tried to pull it out, but it was so deeply rooted. So himself and his wife had to dig deeper so they could pull out the root. Lo and behold, when this cassava plant, deeply rooted, was pulled out, something was dangling at the root of this plant. It was packaged in a little black box. Udo opened it up and he was amazed at what his eyes found. Gold. Gold. Then there was another thread that was attached to this box, which he had to trace to another cassava dried up plant. That other plant, when dug out, had another box that was attached to its roots. Same box with gold. Another thread was traced again to another dry cassava plant. Another box of gold. Udo could not contain his joy. Udo and his family took the gold and invested it into the farm. And before we knew what was going on, this farm had become one of the richest farms in the village. Udo was also exporting from the farm to the city because lorries were coming from the city to the farm to purchase cassava from Udo. And Udo had no worries about feeding his family ever again in his life. This same business he also transferred to his children and his children's children's children. The end. I hope you learned a thing or two from today's story. But not to worry, there will be one more story for another day. Until we come your way again on the Grandma Wura's Story Heart. This is Grandma Wura saying bye-bye.
Today on Grandma Wura's Story Heart, we learned that it is important to patiently wait and reap the fruit of our labor. We also learned that we must never be envious of other people's success and eagerly try to be as successful as they are. When we realize our mistakes, we should be humble enough to have a change of heart and do the right thing. Discuss more of the other lessons you learned today with your parents or guardians. You can reach me at Grandma Wura on Facebook and Instagram with the supervision of an adult. Also visit www.proudafricanroots.com to get your own copy of the Grandma Wura's Story Heart ebook.
something you've never heard that will blow your mind. Once upon a time, I told you stories from Africa. Fun enough to make you laugh. Bright enough to light your day. Super lessons you learn from it, and it makes you go.